Day 21. Pimento. The door to the Admiral's quarters stood open, and Dr. Green hesitated, trying to look around the room as much as possible without going in. "Sir, you wanted to see me?" she said to the air. Admiral Grant appeared. He was trying to cuff up his shirt. Given the hour, no wonder he hadn't been dressed. "Yes, Doctor, come in. Excuse the mess." She walked through the doorway and was surprised to see First Officer Clark already sitting on a couch, pressing his lips into an awkward smile. He raised one hand in a wave. The other was resting on a bag in his lap, the kind that were issued for on-world expeditions, if you were new to them, that was. "I've asked the First Officer to join us, thought it might save a bit of time." She had no idea what he was talking about, but he hadn't asked a question, so she remained silent. He moved around to a screen on the wall as he slipped on his jacket. It already displayed the grey planet she knew they were orbiting. "What do you make of it?" He didn't mean the planet. He meant the team that had gone down to study it almost 20 hours ago and hadn't been heard from since. The reason a select few had been quietly roused from their sleep before the whole ship found out. Dr. Green imagined she wouldn't normally be called upon under such circumstances, but there was one fairly obvious reason this time. "We anticipated losing radio contact, sir, perhaps not quite so quickly. As you know, there isn't necessarily cause for alarm, unless the particular protocols for the run stipulated they should come back within a certain time frame in the event of loss of comms, which I assume has lapsed if we're here talking about them." The Admiral cast a look at the First Officer, as if to check he wasn't listening, but of course he could hear everything. Admiral Grant went on anyway. His eyes were kind. "He didn't tell you?" Dr. Green's husband had gone down to the planet the day before, the lead scientist in the group of 4. While Green was the ship's specialist in flora and fauna, her husband was a geologist, and they had reason to believe there was lithium and all sorts of other things down there. And no, he hadn't told her. That wasn't uncommon. They had only ever known each other as expeditionary scientists, spent far more of their lives together in deep space than at home. Admiral Grant had married them and commanded them on dozens of missions like this, sometimes together, sometimes not. They understood each other's jobs very well, knew the dangers. In fact, they didn't really know any other way of living. She had to admit, that was uncommon. "It wasn't my mission, sir, which makes me wonder. I'm sending you down there. That's why I've called you. It's not bad news." "It's no news," said First Officer Clark, throwing his hands up. "I'm sending you both," said the Admiral. "Why me?" asked Dr. Green. "I'm a botanist." Admiral Grant looked around at the floor. The decision seemed to have weighed on him. "I really can't have this getting out, not yet. But I couldn't bear the people knowing about what was going on when you didn't. I couldn't do that to you and Tom, so I folded you into the need to know." "And the First Officer?" She realized she was speaking as if he weren't there. She pivoted to face him on the couch. "Sorry, sirs?" Clark made to speak, but the Admiral cut him off. "First Officer Clark has proven himself to be highly valuable in matters of discretion. He's obviously highly trained, but has made several good arguments as to why he needs more on-world experience." Clark made the same awkward smile and raised his shoulders. Dr. Green felt her stomach tighten. "Just the two of us, sir?" The Admiral moved around to fix her again with those kind eyes. He dropped his voice. "You'll be absolutely fine. Once you drop down below the cloud layer, you'll probably see them set up, drilling away, ignoring orders, and you can tell him off as you bloody well should. And look, if it's more complicated than that, I'm giving you a return order of 60 minutes, that's all. An hour out of radio contact and you come back. If not, I send everyone in the kitchen sink. 60 minutes, right, Clark?" "Yes, sir," said the First Officer, picking himself up in his seat. Not fully convinced, Dr. Green found herself striding down the bright corridors to the transport bay, Clark falling in behind her. Technically, she was on his mission, but neither of them were under that illusion. "Has anyone ever said it's funny that you study animals and plants and your name's Dr. Green?" he asked. She didn't feel she could ignore him. "Many, many times, sir." "Sorry, I only—" Thankfully, they arrived at the large hangar that stored the smaller transport vehicles. Lights high above them turned on as the two passed between various landers and machinery. "Which one are we taking?" asked the first officer. "That's mine, over there." Nestled among other parts of the scientist's fleet was a boxy four-seater lander with rounded-off corners and a deep red paint job. Even given the circumstances, it still occurred to the doctor that it could do with a wash. The dirty little thing looked like a long-forgotten hard candy next to some of the coaches used for ferrying tens of crew on missions or during rotation. But it was hers. "Oh," said Clark, "that's yours. Don't you call it something? Palomino?" "Pimento," she said. The lights on the outside and in the cab blinked on as she approached, and she didn't even break stride as the door on the side sprang open. Moments later, she was helping Clark buckle himself in. "Why do you call it Pimento?" She turned on the thrusters.